Welcome to the Friendly Moms Club podcast with Jen and Karlee. We're the new mom friends you didn't know you needed.
We are creating a safe space to bring moms together, lighten the heaviness, and find joy in the everyday moments. Together, we will share our own experiences of being new moms while navigating the topics we wish more people talked about.
Join us every Monday to hear us skip the small talk and dive right into the uncomfortable. Happy Mom Day, Jen.
Happy Mom Day, Karlee.
It's a beautiful day. I think I should start doing different accents, or different, what's it called when you sing? Like different vibratos?
That's a word, but I don't know what it means.
I don't know. I got to learn about singing. Like alto. Is that alto? It's a beautiful day.
Today we are doing part 2 of the Friendly Dads Club.
With the daddies.
Yeah.
With the daddies. Yeah, so let's jump into it.
Part 2, here we go.
First month postpartum. What do you think you did that was helpful in that first month? Like the initial first few weeks of craziness at home? Like, was there anything that you think
following orders?
This was good. Like, I mean, you guys talked about it beforehand, so maybe you had a bit of a leg up on what you were going to do. I know Karlee was prepared with little baskets all around the house, but is there anything, Geoff, that you thought like, you did well, or like what advice would you give?
Pretty organized and like in control, so she definitely like had us set up really well, and I definitely just tried to do as much of the like menial washing bottles and cleaning pumping parts, and like the amount of pumping parts I've washed over that first year, like it's incomprehensible. And like obviously she's washed a lot too, but like yeah, it's a lot. And I definitely tried to do as much of the like feeding bottles overnight and things like that, so like she can get some sleep. Obviously there's times when like she has to get up to pump anyways, or like she might as well breastfeed like when he got a little bit older, and we sorted that out. But like there's definitely times where the dad can like take over and let the mom rest, for sure. I don't know.
I don't remember what the question was.
Yeah.
Like how the guys helped in that first few weeks, that first month. Like what was helpful? Like what advice or what would you say, guys, like you should be doing?
Get a
in that
very
first
large
month?
water ball and keep it full all the time. That's the number one most important thing.
That is very important.
It is very important. My water bottle was way too small, clearly.
Yeah. I filled it 47 times a day.
I was so thirsty. I remember you being mad at me. You're like, how can your water be empty again?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm thirsty. At that point, I was pumping like 2 liters a day.
I know,
like,
you're pumping a crazy amount.
I was like, I can't even drink that much water on a normal day.
Yeah.
It was outrageous. But yeah, you were very helpful.
It is. That's like a underrated thing people don't say, but the water bottle. Keeping a water bottle stocked and always bringing it to the woman is...
Definitely. Very helpful.
To the birth-giving person.
Person.
And even like we took turns sleeping on like the bassinet side of the bed.
Yeah, true.
Which was really helpful. Although there was many times that I would be on the far side of the bed. And
I would sleep further than
have
crying.
to wake him up and be like, Geoff, the baby's crying.
Same here. It's
Jordan
funny,
was like
hey?
sleeping beside my face and I still wouldn't hear it.
Yeah. Funny how that is, right? Like,
Yeah.
but they don't have the same hormonal like shifts when they cry. Like, you
Definitely.
feel it inside you when they cry. It is
Yeah, when Jordan
wild.
cries, you're like, it hurts my insides. I'm like, oh, she's just telling me she's alive. Like I love hearing her cry because I'm like, oh, well, she's good. Like it's hearing her quiet that I start freaking out.
Mm-hmm. Like when they sleep too long.
Just doing those tasks. I know it feels like you're useless, but like I know how much it means to you, and I guess recognizing that washing bottles is appreciated because it means you don't have to do it, and you have a lot of stuff going on, and the pumping, and like I lactation consultant meetings and stuff, and just being there and supporting and like learning and trying to soak it all in, because like the only information we got from the hospital was like what her poop should look like nothing
the
else
poop chart. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
like no other information was given, so like I was like, hopefully Jen's talked to enough people to know what's going on. Like thankfully the diapers have that line where it shows that it's wet.
Yeah.
To change it. Like otherwise I'm like,
Bless them.
And it says front, back, or like, so you know which way it goes on.
yeah, like as silly as it sounds, like I'd never changed a diaper until Jordan was born. And then like the first diaper I changed was like her black tarry poop, and like it was all up my arm, and like her first bath was after her first poop because like we were both covered in it, and it.
You learned the hard way how to clean up the poop.
Yeah, the nurse is like, oh, do you want to learn how to do? Cat just attacked Karlee's phone.
Classic.
When the nurse came in, she's like, oh, do you want to bathe Jordan? I was like, oh, well, she already had a bath because.
There's
Just
poop
like
everywhere.
A sink bath.
Yeah, basically
real
just
bath.
washed her over
Yeah.
and like it was just very tarry and. But-
That
Oh,
shit's
yeah.
sticky. So sticky.
So much better than the poo nowadays, though.
yeah.
I'll take that any day.
Oh man.
To any
I think-
dads out there who like say they're not going to change a diaper, just do it. Like it's not that bad.
Even if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like you guys got to carry it for 9 months. Like it's your time to bond with the kid. As weird as
Totally.
it sounds, like I said, I never changed a diaper before Jordan, and I was hesitant because I was like, I don't want to deal with poop, and now I'm like, I
don't wanna deal with
her
poop.
poop on me more than anything. Like
Yeah.
I'd rather deal with her poop than other human poop. Like
That's
other
fair.
people's crap. Like her poop is like it doesn't.
It's just different when it's your child.
Yeah, and
Like, it doesn't
I've
affect
heard
you
that
at
from other
all.
people, and I'm like, why would you want to like deal with it? And then now I'm like, yeah, like, oh, she pooped. I'm like, oh, cool. Like, get to see what color it is and like what's stuck in there.
I get
She
so
ingested
proud
when I
of
wasn't
them.
watching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, when did we
Yeah.
have corn?
Henry
I'm just-
nowadays.
Why did we have corn? Actually, though, their poops right now, there's something else.
Yeah,
He was a little
expensive.
worried it was a little red one day, but she had beets.
Beets.
So I was like,
Beets.
that's probably from the beets. But he was like, had Google open, and I was like, I think it's just the beets. Like it was enough.
Which I feel is an important conversation to have. Like, if you're gonna give something with beets to your kid, let the partner know.
Okay,
So
you
Yeah.
were there. It wasn't
Freaking-
like yeah. Anyways, not important.
it's my dad advice for the day.
What?
Yeah.
Tell your partner if your child has ingested beets, if they're gonna go change the diaper.
Totally.
Or a lot of blueberries. I think blueberries
Yeah.
can do
the
it
blueberry
too.
one. Henry ate so many blueberries that his poo looked like coffee grounds.
Yeah, and his
Yeah.
butt was stained
His
blue.
butt was like blue, black, like a whole ass
Yeah,
cheeks.
he actually had a little.
Can't wait for the kids to listen to this down the road.
Yeah.
Mom, why would you
Big
say
Mom.
that, Dad?
Stop talking about my butt.
I know, but you
Yeah.
just, it's so normal though. Like I remember the dad being like, I don't know how to clean in all the folds. Like my fingers are too big because like they're so small, right? Tiny babies. And I was like, I don't know. How am I supposed to clean in there? And I was like, you just figure, I don't
so
know.
funny.
Like,
Did I ever
just-
tell you
just
once?
Figure these things out.
This is a good new dad story. I was at work and this dad came out and he asked me for a Q-tip and I was like, and I was like, well, I was like, for baby's ear, like, or I was like, for baby? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, well, it's not recommended to use Q-tips on like newborns. And he's like, he was like, well, I just need something. And I'm like, well, what do you want to use it for? He's like, wanted to clean the baby's butthole with it to get. And I was like, if there's like a little bit of poop in the butthole, like, you don't need a Q-tip. And I was like, but you know what? You don't know.
He's being
you don't
thorough.
know.
He had no idea,
He was
right?
very thorough. Maybe he cleans his
Yeah.
own butt with a Q-tip. Maybe it is. Okay. What do we got next?
Well, whoever wants to go first was having a baby like what you expected. Kind of the all-encompassing journey of having a baby, starting from trying to conceive.
Nah, it's gonna go
I'll
first
go
this
first.
time.
Okay.
I'm gonna say no. Maybe it's biology that blocked out. Like I don't remember what I was expecting, but just the whole time I just feel like lost and confused. And you're crying. Why are you crying? Like you're fine. Why would you be crying? But there's no other way to communicate. And like, yeah, I don't remember what I was expecting, but I definitely don't think having a kid was what I think I expected. If that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Just it's a dump of emotions, and all of a sudden you're just confused and not sleeping and tired and trying to cope and trying to be supportive and trying to figure stuff out. And there's this human that you're responsible for that's crying, and you either feed it, you keep it warm, and you keep it dry and fed. And like the first month or two was tough because it was like figuring out Jordan's weight and like dropping in weight and breastfeeding and pumping. And like I've learned a lot more about the female human anatomy in the first year of Jordan's birth than I had in the previous 35 years of my life. Mm-hmm. Like we didn't know the gender of our kid before. And I kind of like, I have two brothers. Like I had no experience with little girls other than like our niece, but like very limited girl experience. So like when Jordan was born, it was a girl. I'm like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
This is an embarrassing story, but like when I guess they get the father to announce the gender of the kid when they take the kid out, if you didn't know ahead of time. So I remember the nurse holding up Jordan, and they're like, "What is it, Dad?" And then I'm looking, and I know what I'm looking at, but I'm like, something's gonna pop up any second now. Like, I'm familiar with that. And then nothing popped up, and I'm like, "Oh, it's a girl." And then Jen's like, "You sound confused," and I was like, "Well, I'd never looked at a baby's
Little baby girl before.
Yeah.
And they're very swollen. They
Things are
almost
all
look like they
swollen.
have balls, but it's
So
just
that-
their labia.
And that's like I thought it was balls, and I'm waiting for something else to come out, and
You're like, our
it
baby
never-
doesn't have a
came out.
penis.
It never came. I never thought I'd be on a podcast talking about a baby's vagina, but here we are.
Here we are.
So any
That's
like
funny.
specific examples that things you expected that were like completely didn't happen or the opposite of it?
Like I said, I don't even like it just a blur because like all of a sudden she's there, you're just doing it, and I think the hardest part with everything was just like being present because like it just you're tired, you're exhausted, you're learning something new, and she's screaming, you're not doing well, you're screaming, you're crying, she's crying, I'm crying, like it's
Such a like chaotic.
the first 2
mental
months,
state.
yeah, it is just like it's like a war zone.
Yeah.
And I remember it wasn't until like Jordan had like her first like chunk of like 4 hours of sleep where we both slept for 4 hours. I think that's when I finally like this was probably like November when I was finally like, okay, like this isn't so bad. But the first 2 months, yeah, it was like going to war and yeah.
Extreme.
Yeah,
Felt like
just-
war.
yeah, no, like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm getting orders yelled at me. I'm just trying to like tread water and be helpful and not be negative and like just learning something new and doing it and not knowing what you're doing and having people's opinions shared with you. Like, oh, you should be doing this. I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense. Or like going back to like, oh, I remember my parents doing this and thinking that's not how I want to do things and
The
figuring out
unsolicited
how
advice.
you want to do stuff. And everyone's an expert or your kid. And maybe I'm more antagonistic than I should be, and I don't like listening to other people's opinions, and I just do it my way. And I hope Jordan doesn't learn that trait from me.
Yeah, let's
But-
hope.
Again, I don't know what I expected, but I don't think this was it. I can say it's been a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. I thought it'd be just terrible because, again, I don't have a lot of experience with like newborns, and the potato phase, is, I like to call it, like isn't fun. Like be like, oh, baby snuggles, like that wasn't my thing. But now that Jordan's like moving around and like interactive and reacting and stuff like that, like now like it's awesome. But in the beginning it was just like this isn't fun at all. Like you're just crying and
Sleeping.
yeah.
Eating.
Getting yelled at by everybody in your house. The dog's barking at you. Jen's crying. The baby's crying. It's like, it's a lot.
Hold the neck. Don't hold it like that. Like,
Yeah.
you do everything wrong for the first 2 months, and the baby starts like calmly, like slowly, like holding their neck up. We're like, okay, this is better. And then, month 1 and 2, I think for me at least, and I would say for most fathers is probably the worst because mom's recovering, baby's learning everything, and you're just there.
It's hard because you're thrown into this new role that you have no idea. It's like a brand new job, but you don't have any training, and your boss, the baby, is a little bit of an asshole sometimes, and you're just
And
like,
your
and then
coworkers, your wife
Yes.
is also a bit of an asshole sometimes.
the work environment is a
Poops on
little
you.
bit hostile, and
Yeah.
you're up all hours of the night. You're on call 24 hours, and let's be real, the pay sucks, so it's hard.
Okay, Geoff. So, what about you? Same question.
Expectation that I remember was I kept saying to people that I like just wanted to like I expected to just want to get through the baby phase and be like, I just want him to be older. Like I don't think I'll really connect with him when he's like a baby. I don't really know babies. I don't really get babies. Like I've never like wanted to hold someone's baby. I like totally expected to just like obviously want to take care of him, but just like not bond with him until he was older. But I definitely like after getting through the initial shock, like I was like totally obsessed with him. Like I like loved him so much right away, and like it was the complete opposite of what my expectation was.
You like slid into being a dad like very seamlessly and easily, and I think it surprised you even 'cause
Totally.
but I think it doesn't always happen like that for some people.
Yeah. People say like, oh, you don't get it until you do it. And I never expected like the pride that I would feel for him. Like he will do nothing and I'll be like, holy shit. Like, look at him. He's sleeping right now. Or like, he just rolled over or farted, and it's like
He does like to
I'm amazed. I'm like blown away, like the like pride or like how proud I am of him for like the most basic
existing.
shit. He just exists, and I'm like, fuck yeah, man! Like that's awesome. Like good job, dude. You know, so yeah.
I feel like that's probably a common expectation.
Yeah.
Like I think that
I would
makes,
think so.
That makes total sense.
Yeah, no, I think you described it better than I ranted on for like 10 minutes about.
No,
No idea what you're doing, and then I definitely connected way more than I thought too, because I was like, oh well, Jen's just gonna feed her, and like
it's just gonna be a potato, like you said,
hang around,
like,
just again, I never wanted to hold kids. Like I was terrified of kids, and like when she's there, and like I wanted to hold her all the time, and now of course she's in the don't touch me phase and never wants to be held, and so yeah, if you don't indulge in that snuggle phase, you miss out on it.
Yeah, but it is funny because we went out the other night, actually just Nenad and I, and we both didn't really want to go. Like it was just a hard day, we weren't feeling well, and Nenad is like, is it weird that like I actually just want to be home with my child? Like everyone says I should want to go out and leave them, but he's like, I don't actually have any interest in leaving her. Like I want to be with her. I was like, well, it's not all about you. Like my sister also wants to babysit. She wants to bond with her. Like it's good for someone else to put her to bed and all the others. But it's just funny because I don't think I expected Nenad to have the reaction to being a dad that he did either.
Totally.
Like, Karlee, did you expect for Geoff to like slide in so seamlessly, or was it also a shock to you?
I think I was
immature.
like,
Slide in so seamlessly. Sorry, I didn't even know. I didn't even know that I said that.
I was expecting him to, like, I wasn't expecting him to, like, be a horrible dad or, like, not be good at it, but I wasn't expecting him to, like, just the enthusiasm he had and the excitement over Henry just existing.
Yeah, totally.
Like, you were, like, hashtag Team Henry from day one.
Definitely.
The excitement was fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. What was the hardest part? What would you say was the hardest part up until now? Like, so past a year postpartum, all the way from trying to conceive to now. What was the hardest part? Any takers?
Yeah, I'll go. The hardest part, like the first couple nights, the first couple weeks were like very difficult. Obviously, like kind of everyone knows that. Not sleeping, and like the first night in the hospital, like I woke up every like 20 minutes. It felt like, be like, is he breathing? Is he breathing? Is he too hot? Is he breathing? Like, I don't know. Like, so those nights were very hard. And then also for me, like the first few months going back to work, I kind of like physically adapted to the lack of sleep, but not like emotionally, I feel like. I was very like emotional and reactive at work for the first few months. And I'm lucky that I had very understanding coworkers, because like I was not fun to be around for a while, and like I had a couple conversations with like my boss and like coworkers, and they're like, are you okay? And like, you know, and like they were very understanding, which is good. That was definitely the hardest part for me.
Again, I think we talk about this with women, but not about the men going back to work, and how you also don't want to go back to work and leave your child. Like you also want to be home, but I think no one talks about that. We all focus on the women and like how hard it is for them to go back to work, and if they want to go, are you going to be a stay-at-home mom? But people don't talk about a stay-at-home dad option, or like dads wanting to work from home so they can be near their kids more, or like I think that's a very important point, is that that's also a very hard thing. Did you expect that? Did you expect to have that reaction going back to work?
I don't think so. No, I didn't.
No,
You
that's
thought
right.
that you would just...
I thought I was doing better than I was. Like I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Like I was struggling with the lack of sleep, and then like you kind of get over it, and you're like, yeah, like this is just life now. Like you kind of figure it out. But I definitely didn't realize like how, like I had no like patience at all for anything, you know. So
Nenad?
The hardest part, just all the compliments you get of like, oh my god, look, an involved dad, and like, oh
yeah,
it's so
what a
my
difficult thing.
it's
Hey,
so annoying. Like, I just want to hang out with my kid. Stop saying how great I am.
yeah.
no, the hardest part for me, I think I go back to like what we said before, like just trying to stay like mentally present. And I mean, I don't want to get into what happened, but I had an incident kind of through work where an infant passed away, and it affected me more than I thought. And when Jordan was around the same age that that kid was, like my mind went really, really dark. And shout out to Dr. Karlee, my therapist, helped me kind of navigate it. And like, so yeah, I got diagnosed with PTSD, and just having a lot of recall of that incident, and like drawing parallels with Jordan, and kind of deep diving, and like that was the worst part, because here I am having like essentially a mental health crisis in my mind, and then Jen's there trying to parent, and I'm not wanting to get out of bed and not wanting to be there. And like the thing that you like love the most in the world is also like just triggering you. And like it, like had Jordan not been born, like I probably would still be not processing that incident. But like the way I like to look at it now is like, if it wasn't for her, I probably would still be stuck in that unknown of why I didn't want to have kids, or like hang out with kids, or hold kids. So if it wasn't for her, I'd probably still be more, I mean, I'm an introvert, but like I think it really caused me to shut down, and therapy helped open up, and now I don't stop talking. I think I talked for the most on this podcast, and I'm sorry for all the listeners, but yeah, I've been through a lot of therapy
perspective to share.
And yeah, just navigating your own traumas, and whether it be kid related or like just your childhood. And like, I think the hardest part is not passing on your traumas or beliefs that you know aren't helpful to your kid. And like, I remember talking to Jen about this, where like Jordan doesn't know negativity. Jordan doesn't know stress. She doesn't know, like, she's going to learn that from us unless we get our stuff organized. And like, you got to take care of your problems, so you're not passing on a lot of those, not faults, but like, yeah, you want to teach your kid the good stuff. But I think as a parent, it's important to make sure you're doing well. And that's why like I talk to a therapist. Everyone should talk to a therapist. Like, just make sure your ducks are in a row before you start teaching your kids stuff, because unfortunately kids pick up on everything good or bad that you do. So you just want to be more cognizant and aware. And like, I was holding Jordan and I'm sitting stressing, like, well, then she's gonna think shaking is normal. Like, and so just forcing me to reevaluate myself and my coping strategies, so that I'm there with her and not passing off. Like, I'm a chronic nail biter, and like I have been for a while, and like I don't like, so I consciously try not to do it in front of Jordan, because I don't want her to pick up on that. And now when I see her hands in her mouth, I think, oh, she's learning this bad stuff from me.
Overanalyzing, but yes.
Yeah.
Could be worse. Could be worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the hardest part for me was just being present with all this other stuff going on, and just trying to enjoy, like, yeah, and being excited when they do like little things. And like, I remember the first time she pooped on my chest. It's like, this is the coolest thing ever.
Hot Carl.
And we actually have talked about this too. Like you just said, the most frustrating part was that you don't remember being present at all during those, like, we'll say couple months there in the middle, like the beginning to middle. And that's what makes you the most mad.
Yeah, like I feel like I missed out on it, but I think it just reframing it was like, oh yeah, I was just going through stuff. And like, the most important thing we've always, like, even now with Jen not feeling well with pregnancy, like, Jordan's not going to remember any of this. Like, the only time she'll recognize any of this is when she inevitably listens to this podcast.
Inevitably.
And Mom and Dad love you.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, she won't remember any of this, and just it's a good time to take care of ourselves and make sure that we're doing well, so that when she does start having memories, whatever, she won't remember Dad crying or Dad dry heaving or Mom throwing up. Like, we're taking care of ourselves now, so that she doesn't have to deal with our problems later on in life.
Yeah. Well, you're being a wonderful role model for her and for a lot of other dads. I think it's important also to note that, like, we don't have to be perfect, but just showing we're aware of things that we're struggling with, teaching them, like, you don't have to have it all together, but you're showing her that it's okay to have big, scary emotions, and that when she has them, she's going to come to you.
And I think that's more of a new age thing, where like accepting that you don't know all the answers. Because I feel like maybe I'm in the minority here, but like I feel like you think your parents know what they're doing, and like there's always this expectation of like, oh, you are so and so, like you must know this, and like having expectations on other people's knowledge, and then when you're in that same position, like I have no idea what the heck I'm doing.
Yeah.
I don't want to swear like Geoff on the podcast,
Jeff.
but like
Is this a no
so, like,
swearing podcast?
Yeah, we're not explicit. We're the friendly moms, not the fucking moms.
that's a different podcast for
We
$9.99
want
a
to
month.
mark this one as explicit. All right.
But yeah, just like not knowing what you're doing, and like it's okay. Like
Definitely.
not having the pressure you have, like, oh, I'm a dad, I should figure this out. Like, you know, like figure it out. Like we'll do it together. And I don't know what I'm doing 99% of the time, and do what we think is best. And other people will have their opinions, and you listen to it, and you decide. Like at the end of the day, it's your kid, and you and your partner should be discussing how you want to do things. I feel like it's different because you guys have like this mom group where you guys exchange information, and like we have a group chat with the dads. I think we
sent
share
2
like a couple of
pictures,
memes.
though, so.
Yeah. Like there's a lot less information sharing on our end. Like I probably know more about Henry than I would of any other kid. Like just because you're like, oh, well, Henry did this, and like, oh, is this normal? I'm like, I have no idea. Like I know nothing about children. I know what Jordan does. I don't. What do you mean other kid doesn't have 17 teeth or whatever? Like Jordan's been teething since like month 3 and
she
hasn't
just never
stopped. And
stopped.
I'm like, oh, like this kid has no teeth. I'm like, oh, that's normal too. I'm like, oh, cool.
Do you think Jordan has extra teeth? Like, do you think when all her teeth come in, she's
I
just been
don't,
born
I, don't,
like,
I don't know.
like a
It is
little shark.
unreal.
Yeah.
She's just like constant drool. It is just, yeah.
She's gonna chew through leather soon. Like just so many teeth.
On that happy note of the fun times we're going through, what was the best part in this whole journey? And not just like, oh, the birth of our child, because that's like something, like what was the best?
What does your script say,
good
Geoff?
stuff?
I didn't answer these last 2 questions,
Oh.
actually. I didn't
He didn't
script
prep
out the
answers.
last 2.
Okay.
I didn't
He
prep
doesn't have a
answers.
Script. Okay.
Shit, I had one, and then I got lost in Nenad's story, and now
Oh.
I forgot.
Sorry. Now
Okay,
stop
what
talking.
was the best part? We've talked about kind of the hardest. And other than just meeting your baby, because we all
And
know
the
that's
fact that I grew a mini you.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
I thought you were going to say the fact that I grew really nice boobs. I honestly thought that's where you were going, and then you were
Yeah.
like, oh.
It's Jeff's choice. That could be the best part
Because
for you.
they were
Could be.
great, and now they're
They
getting
got
smaller again.
outrageous.
But
They are, yeah. Finally. Woo.
Isn't that your
Okay.
most watched
What was the
video
best
on or your most watched reel?
yes.
I think
Yeah,
the
actually.
best part is it kind of like gives you direction where it's like
Purpose.
purpose. Like you had purpose before, but it's like this you now just have this overarching thing that is like the most important thing in your life, and it's like it's just this like drive. It just like makes every day like more important almost. Like the amount of days I spent before where I just like I'm just gonna sit around today and fucking play video. I swear again, but play video games and like whatever. There's definitely like this overarching purpose that I think is the best part. I don't know.
Something
that
motivating
stupid?
and inspiring you.
No, I
Oh,
think that's
that's
actually
a
a very good answer.
Great answer.
Yeah.
You Mr. I don't think well on my feet. That's killed it. That was awesome.
Nailed it.
It's good.
And then
Dad's
also-
sticking together.
He looks like me.
Oh, yeah. His
That's
little
it.
bum,
It's fine.
specifically, he has got
His
a nice
butt.
little bum.
And his
Yeah,
belly.
his
How do
little
you-
bum.
How do you know what Jeff's butt looks
He has a
like?
dad bod.
Karlee has described it for me.
It looks like Henry's. If you've seen Henry's bum, then you've seen my bum.
Can you tell us how does she know?
They
what
actually
Jeff's
have a
butt looks
photo.
like?
Yeah.
They actually have a photo on their fridge of Henry's bum. It's like with his pants down. They're trying to do a diaper change, and it's like just like it's just this like
So
little
cute.
bum. It's just cute.
It's a
So it's like
very
I'm
cute
staring at
butt.
Jeff's bum every time I'm there.
I know.
Just so you
That's
know.
literally what Jeff's butt looks like. All right, Nenad, what was the best part for you?
Yeah.
I think meeting Jeff through all this journey.
Amazing. Wow. I'm so
just
flattered.
Jeff.
I definitely agree with what you're saying. Like things just matter. Like now I'm not doing the dishes. Now I'm just keeping a clean house because I want to teach my kid how to do stuff, and just recognizing that, oh man, like I'm one of the most important people in this human being's life, and I got to get my stuff in order to make sure that I don't cause more damage than good. And just a reawakening of direction, drive. I forget how you worded it, but like
Purpose.
there's meaning behind purpose behind everything now. And like I have zero patience for anybody else because like, well, Jordan needs to learn patience. She needs to learn this. Like, and I'm like, it's my job as a parent to teach her this stuff. So when other people don't have patience or manners, whatever, like I have zero. Like, well, your parents should have taught you that. Like, I'm trying to teach my kid this, and
Well, now you're just piggybacking on Jeff's answer.
but no, the
That's
best
fine.
part was
That's allowed.
just having.
Actually,
a
I think his
mini-
first answer was meeting Jeff.
Oh, yes. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, having this mini you that you get to play with and coach and watch, learn, like just seeing Jordan explore and like the best part is just watching her explore the world and like recognizing like how much you take for granted and like when she started playing with like the door stop, like the the spring behind the door, and like she was amazed by it and playing with him, like you forget about the little things that are just so cool to a kid.
Yeah.
And it just makes you go back and be like, oh man, like all the stuff that you missed out because like, oh, like you just walk by your TV, you're like, oh, there's this box that like makes noises and shapes, and like she's just so into it, and just like the best part has been just not reliving your own childhood, but recognizing how much in the world there is to
It is pretty cool.
Definitely. You're gonna go to
they're
be
just like
amazed at.
little balls of happiness. Like everything
know.
is like,
yeah, they don't know
this is so
anger.
cool.
They don't
like
know.
look at this thing. Look at this color.
Yeah.
Look at this like noise and like it's
I
pretty
want to
cool.
put this in my mouth. Like just
Yeah.
just the sense of exploration and discovery is just it's a good reminder of the stuff you take for granted. At least for me, it was just recognizing and like things are cool. You just need to have a better perspective on it.
Definitely.
Be more childlike.
You're gonna go into the kitchen tomorrow, and Nenad's gonna be sitting there just pulling out all the Tupperware and playing with it. Like, have you seen
Banging on pots and pans.
Drooling all over things.
He's going to be laying next to the door, like doing a spring thing. And,
Look at the door spring. Dong, 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 dong.
yeah. Okay, the last question before we finish for tonight is any words of wisdom or what's kind of any pieces of advice you think for other dads out there?
Don't listen to other dads.
Yeah. Everything you heard that we just said, ignore it all. No. That's
Yeah.
kidding.
Do what you want. It's your kid. Do what's best for you and your family. And like, yeah, like other people will have opinions, but it's your kid. It's your job, responsibility, however you want to word it, to teach them as best you can. And you brought them into this world, so it's your responsibility to nourish them and make them a person that you would want to hang out with and be with. Enjoy it, because the past year has just flown by. Like I look at photos and like I don't remember that at all. Like we were just at a friend's house who had a newborn, and I'm like, I don't remember Jordan this size. Like they were born the same way. I'm like, I zero recollection of her being, and it was like a year ago. Like I used to like think I had a good memory, and like I used to remember stuff all the time, and now like, I don't remember anything. Jen will ask me like, hey, can you get me like X and Y, and I'll turn around and like, sorry, what did you say? I got one of those things. I'll never remember the second thing now. And dad brain's a real thing.
So would you
Dad
say
brain is a real thing.
I feel like I got that before and it was more.
would you say being involved, like truly take on ownership and be involved in your child's life is kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, like don't put it all on the mom. Like get in the trenches, get the poop on you.
Yeah. No, I like full-heartedly agree with this. I just was trying to wrap up everything you said into.
Yeah, I rambled. Jen, concise
She
and
was paraphrasing.
I'm just
to
like
you.
like actually be a part of your child's life. Like dads, if you're listening,
enjoy.
that's
Do
the
the
best
dang
thing that
thing.
you can do. Actually be present with your child.
So just be there. And
Your kid like absolutely wants to have the greatest relationship in the world with you, and like it takes so much to like damage that.
Any other words of wisdom? Anyone?
Don't act like you're like it's not the male thing to like change the diapers or do bedtime or like like it's like Nenad said earlier, it's a chance to bond with them, and like I think those are important moments to like develop a good relationship with them. And
I don't know, you guys have like a 9-month head start.
I would never go back and not change diapers. Like, yeah,
Like you're not like too manly to be involved in their life.
totally.
Like it's 2023.
Yeah.
We, I guess, similar, this just brings up, because we just talked about it today, that I guess Nenad went and did a daycare drop-off one day this week, And like I know you guys both do daycare drop-offs and pickups, like depending on the day and work. And one of the teachers actually said to Nat, she's like, it's actually really cool to see that like Jordan reacts and loves you both and has a relationship with you both. Like, so her saying that implies that they don't see that a lot in other kids. You know what I mean? Like she was pointing out that she thought it was really neat that like we both are involved. We're both doing drop-offs and pickups. Jordan's just as excited to see both of us. Like,
just circles back to like the hardest part is just all the compliments that I get is just
no, but I think it just shows you like that other people notice it too.
It made me feel
like,
good that this person recognized that like, hey, it sucks that like the default is like the deadbeat dad. And like that's like the part when I was going through my like dark times, it was like, how could you not want to be there for your like Jordan's the most important thing in my life. Like Jen was, and then she brought Jordan in and then like just
bye
pushed to the side like bye Felicia.
Totally.
Like
You are
Other
now
kid's
just
gonna
my,
come in,
you're
I
now
am
just my
just-
roommate. Yeah.
yeah, like you're the person that gets me water when I need it now. Like just it's funny like I remember somebody saying like you never understand love until you bring a kid in. Like I'm worried about the second kid because I don't know like
Yes.
your heart grows like another bubble or something. Like I don't know how biology
Like,
works.
there's
Obviously,
no more
but, like,
room.
yeah, how can you love something more than like this thing that like walks up to you now and like just gives you a hug or like reaches up and like, hey, let's go for a walk and just grabs your hand. Like Jordan does this thing where like she starts like walking backwards and just like will sit on one of us and like it's the cutest thing ever. And I'm like,
She's learned how to like walk sideways, sidestep, and then walk backwards. And sometimes she misses. She'll think that she's gonna sit on your lap, so she'll like plop herself down, but she'll miss us completely. It's really funny. Anyways, no, but back to what Geoff had said is the bonds are made when you're changing the diapers and doing that. Like
Totally.
to actually form that bond with your child, you need to be involved in every aspect, not just like coming home from work and playing for an hour and then not doing bedtimes, bath times, dinner, like not being there for meals. Like, you know, doing all of that stuff is actually what makes the bond there.
Definitely.
I think I was lucky that I've been off work longer than a lot of fathers been there. So like I've had the opportunity to be there, but and not that I'm comparing with other fathers, but I remember going to some like hangouts and seeing some dads hold their kid and just like, I'm like, you've like, this is like the first time you're holding your kid. Like you like, and just awkward. I'm like, I didn't want to be that dad. I wanted to be like, you know what? Like I have a daughter, like I knew nothing about girls. Like, you know what? I'm going to play with Barbies or I'm going to like whatever Jordan wants to do. Like we're doing it. Like I'm going to have a second daughter. Like she probably won't be into basketball and Batman like me. And that's okay. It's what she wants now. And it's unfortunately
force
for
her.
me all about her and
Groom her.
yeah. It's learning what your kid wants to do and doing that and not like trying to force what I like on my kid, even though like she's definitely going to play basketball. Sorry, Jordan.
Definitely. But you're right though, that like even if you are a working parent, like now that Jen and I are back at work, we now feel what partners who go back to work early on feel, and like you can still be involved in their life and you can still actually like be hands-on and do stuff, and like sure you get less time than if you're not working. Just working is not an excuse, I don't want to say that, but like not a reason that you can't bond with them and you can't still spend quality time together.
But I think it's just a labeling. Like Jen says, like, oh, I feel like a bad mom because I did this, that, or the other. And it's like you're labeling it. Like Jordan, like Jen said, like
Jordan's
this
not thinking
being
that.
just loves you unconditionally at this point. Like just you being there is like amazing to them. So like, yeah, you might not be mentally present, or like I said, I went through a phase where I was definitely not there mentally, but Jordan doesn't remember any of that. Like she just climbed on top of me and like it was just being there. And that's what I learned in therapy. It's like the worst that you could do for a kid is neglect them and not be there for them. So that's your duty as a parent, is just being there. And that's something that Jen's asked for me from the beginning, is I just need you here, and just being
Don't
there
always have to be doing something.
physically is easier. Being there mentally is tougher, but being there is important. That's my dad day mantra.
Oh, your dad day mantra. Okay. Any final thoughts before we are done?
I talked way more than I thought I was going to.
Jeff said,
You did
okay,
great,
we have been
Nenad.
talking for a while.
Thanks. You did great.
You guys
too,
both
Jeffrey.
did great. You guys are very
Look, you
friendly
guys
dads.
are so nice.
Wow.
Very
Should we
friendly.
start a podcast?
Hey, you can't steal our idea.
I have all the equipment at home. I need you guys all to buy their merch or whatever they're doing to make money so that I can be a stay-at-home dad. So
We'll work
please
on that.
like, subscribe.
We gotta get
sponsors.
merch that says "Buy this" so my husband can stay home with the baby.
Yes. Just for you.
Yeah, it's 2023. What's wrong with being a stay-at-home dad?
There's
I
nothing
think
wrong
it's
with
great.
it.
Get a third job, Chad.
Okay, I'll work on it. I'll work on making enough money.
Jeffrey, you would be a great stay-at-home dad. I think you would actually be a better stay-at-home dad than I would be a stay-at-home mom.
I think the exact same thing.
Not gonna argue that.
I think the exact same thing though. But you and I are very, very social beings, and we need that like outlet. Where Nenad is happier to be home and not have that like social outlet of being with other people all the time.
I'm also just not patient enough to be around a child all day, where Geoff is. Yeah.
See, but that's why we all work. Okay, well, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for liking and subscribing.
Thanks, friendly dads.
Okay, bye. Love you.